Hello, Megaforce, and everybody watching this. This is episode 263 of GI Joburg, the podcast, and today we're chatting Megaforce. But I'm not alone. Here is my good man, Mr. Rob. Say hello,
Oh
Rob.
my goodness, it's been a while. At least 1 week.
Yes, Rob. There's two of us. Steven is still on mission. He's still Oscar Mike at the moment because he's done a great trek across the outback. Although he did manage to find time to do an episode chat with Tim Wild. If you guys,
Crazy.
yeah,
It's time for
Saints
other
on
people, but
Cinema.
not for us.
Yeah, exactly. I'm feeling very rejected and hurt. How about you, Rob?
Oh, absolutely. What did they talk about, by the way?
Oh, GI Joe and Steven's collection.
Incredible. Good one.
Yeah, but you know what? If everybody wants to know, they can go and check it out. The video is up somewhere on the YouTubes. I'm sure one of us will take the time to put the link in the description below. But guys, Rob and I are not alone today. We've actually got two special guests. I introduce to you GAZZ and Railroad, otherwise known as GAZZ and DARREN. How's it, guys?
Hey guys,
Morning.
Exposed.
thanks for having us on.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah. Thank
indeed.
you for... So, because like this, I know I didn't come up with this idea. Paul, did you come up with this idea? Who came up with this? How did we
Okay,
get
so
here?
so this
How are
is
we
the
watching
story.
a movie about the mayor of New York? And getting a divorce of...
So we did a because you know we sometimes we do these after parties for the podcast, and we just had this one after party, and I think Gaz, I think it was either you or Darren that suggested we should do a whole episode of Megaforce.
I think it was
Because I'd
they
mentioned to
both
you
us.
guys that Steven's gonna be away, and you know, so maybe we should do
You know,
something crazy.
Steven doesn't like watching movies. You know, he's
No.
He
he's
hates
too busy.
movies.
Yeah, especially
he
fun
hates
ones.
movies.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
80s movies.
He's like he hates
always.
Star Wars. He
Yeah.
probably hates Top
Marvel.
Gun.
Top Gun, that rubbish. Yeah.
He's like hates it. Just ugh. And I mean, I don't blame him, especially with Star Wars. But yeah, I love how we're talking smack about Steven. He's gonna
fine.
listen back to this and he's gonna be like, "Fudge you guys."
Right. That goes off the Berg Force. That goes off the Berg Force. Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, scratch him. Yeah, I'm not gonna allow him to ever be on a show or participate in a backyard battles or anything ever. International backyard. I gotta stop doing that. I gotta stop. It's like I came up with the name and I still mess it up. I mean,
You can't even get it right. Come on.
I
It's
can't
your
even get
name.
it right.
You can use it as you like.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go around the table quickly before we get into the Megaforce Bergforce conversation. Robbie, how are you, dude? What's cracking on your side of the world? Are you winning?
I'm definitely winning. It's been a really good week. I've been... Well, it's not because... It's going to sound like it's because of this reason, but it's not. I was alone in the shop for the week. My colleague wasn't there. She was away.
nice.
So that was kind of cool. To kind of like hold down the fort on my own for a bit. And just kind of like do whatever I want. You know, it's kind of freeing when there's like not someone sitting next to you, like judging everything you do. So not that she
Rob
does,
is-
but you know, I enjoy playing video games at work, and I'll do what I want. You know?
And be honest with everybody, Rob. It's nice to be alone in the shop because you can get away with a fart.
Oh, absolutely. All
You
the
can
time
totally
now.
get away with a fart.
I
It
was-
is so great.
I was amazed people can smell it when they came to the shop. Yes.
Yeah. You could just sit there and read a comic or play a video game and just every now and then, RARP! You know, and then you
Fantastic.
look around just to see in case there was maybe a victim, and then you're good. And
Absolutely.
No, I'm glad to hear that you had a good one, dude. And
Hell.
Railroad, Darren, how's your week been? Have you been winning? Did you get any cool new toys or anything fun like that?
Well, for those of you who may or may not have noticed, I recently acquired the Lego Optimus Prime, which is absolutely brilliant, and spent most of last week putting it together, and now I've got to try and find a safe place to put it.
That's the problem with Lego. Where do you
He's
put it?
big. He's pretty big.
He's big. He's big. He's very, very big. Does it transform?
Yes. Original G1 transformation.
Oh,
Okay,
thank
so
goodness.
not too complicated, basically.
Nope. But yeah, it looks great in both forms, and yeah, I'm seriously considering spending the money to get the lighting pack for it so it'll light up.
Nice.
But yeah,
I think you should. I think you should.
I think I
because-
should too.
Yeah, because I think the thing is with like
Spend his money
with-
for him.
exactly right. It's less money for you, but you can find Optimus in the dark, and that's priceless. You can't put a price tag on that. Actually, you can. It's probably like $29.99. You know, but yeah.
So yes, definitely been winning on the acquisition of toy fronts.
Nice. And Gaz, are you kicking butt, dude?
I'm surviving. Nothing new. Trying week with the loss of our pet, but other than
Yeah,
that,
man. I'm sorry about that, dude.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
But other than that, just doing my slow build of my Galaxy Explorer and enjoying life, I guess.
How is that? I mean,
Soft.
this has obviously become Legoburg now.
Oh,
How is the Galaxy Explorer? Is it bringing you fun, fuzzy, wuzzy, nostalgic memories with a
yes,
twist?
it is. Yes, it is.
Very cool.
I automatically want to tear it apart and build something else.
Okay, cool. So it's doing.
I should probably mention that within my eyesight is the castle, the 90th anniversary
Oh.
castle, just sitting
That
there
thing is cool.
telling
Yeah.
me I should be making it right now.
You know,
No
I gotta
judgment. You can do it while we talk.
say, like, something that's been very useful to me in my toy buying sort of decision making has been that the house that Celia and I stay in isn't very big.
Yeah.
So that definitely makes an impact. You know,
Yes,
it
it does.
definitely tells you, like, when you got something in your sights, you're like, is it too big for my house?
Mhm.
Or is it a centerpiece? you know, do
Oh.
I really want it? And if I get it, will it go in the cupboard or on display? And if it goes in the cupboard, it fails.
Yes.
And this week, a lot of toys have unfortunately been left on the toy shelf. Specifically Transformers. There's a new line of Transformers Legacy figures that are out, and I really love the sort of 1990s colors, the bright neon colors and the aesthetic that they're going with. They're really cool. Rob, you may have seen some of them in the toy stores. They got that. They got the diet version of Skids. He's out. He's in the stores. The poor boy version. Yeah, dude. Like when you said, "Oh yeah, you're gonna grab that," and you know we had gotten you that cool one from Masterpiece. I was like, "You're not buying that toy. I'm not letting you. It's rubbish compared to what we're getting you."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, Rob, you're gonna get the cool Skids,
Skip that one.
not the we have Skids at home, you know, kind of thing." Mommy, I want Masterpiece Skids. Oh, we got Skids at home, Rob. Skids at home. Legacy. Anyway, so a lot of those have fallen by the wayside. Although Kickback keeps speaking to me. He keeps going, "Buy me, Paul," and I'm like, but where do I put you? Considering that there's some cool sweet thingies sitting in BBTS, namely a Crocmaster and a Storm Shadow that I'm very excited about. Well,
Hell
the
yeah.
arrival of I'm very
Hell
excited
yeah.
about, and something small in there for Rob as well. And yeah, so hopefully we get to talk about that. But enough of all of those shenanigans and catch ups. I think we all on a good space now. Yeah, wow, I really sound like an old South African TV interviewer today. Speaking of old South African TV interviewer, let's talk about the 80s, guys. There was a movie that came out in the 80s. It was unbelievably cool. It blew the minds of everybody that saw it. And of course, I'm talking about Ghostbusters. But there
Hell
was
yeah.
something else that happened. There was something else that happened in was it 1984 that this film came out?
1982.
1982.
82.
The same year
82.
as E.T., Blade Runner, and The Thing.
Same
Right.
day, yeah.
So that's why Blade Runner didn't do well, because this came out in the same year. I am, of course, talking about Megaforce. And if you don't know what Megaforce is, ladies and gentlemen that are listening to this on the on the Podbean or as a podcast, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to Google it now. And no, we're not talking about Power Rangers Megaforce. I want you to go to the second page of Google, and then you will find Megaforce, the 1982 seminal action classic. And wow. So, seeing as I've got a bit of momentum, I watched this movie for the first time last week, Friday, because I was prepping for the show that we were meant to have on Saturday, and then we moved it to Sunday to accommodate the schedule of you gentlemen, and then unfortunately my power died, and then Rob released one of our best episodes ever, and guys, I gotta say, Megaforce is a movie.
It is. I would agree with that assessment. It's a movie.
It's a movie. I'm not sure if I like or dislike it, and that's kind of where I'm at with this film. And I feel like I need you guys to discuss and tell us why people should watch this film, why they should appreciate it. Hopefully some of your passion for it rubs off on us. Hopefully to inspire a second watch from me, maybe a second watch from Rob, and maybe a complete watch from Steven, who hasn't seen it, has watched a bit of it and couldn't get into it. So we're hoping this podcast will convert Steven to the dark side. So I'm going to hand over to Rob. I'm hoping he's got a question or two for you guys, or tidbit. Actually, Rob, what did you think of this thing? What was your first impression? Because I can sum up my first impression of this film, and I'm going to use an image that I specifically pulled for this moment. And of course, thank you, StreamYard, for not allowing me to put up all the images I wanted to put on. So we're just gonna have to listen to Rob, which is never a problem.
Yeah, it's never a problem. So I thought this was really cool. Like instantly, I was like, "This is basically Action Force, but it's called Megaforce," and it was actually a lot of fun. I think initially I was a little confused as to what was going on because it was very dark in the first sequence. But like halfway through, I was like, "This is actually fantastic," and it's a lot of fun. Like everything is practical. It's real effects. They're all out there. Well, like, there's some things on sort of like a weird. What do they call it? Intro vision, I think, is what what was pioneered in this movie.
I think the intro vision. That was the beginning sequence there with the reverse coloring.
Oh, that's Introvision.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's okay. Wow. So that's okay. So that's not as groundbreaking as I thought it was. Okay.
It was the 80s. You had to
swapping the colors. Everything was amazing. Introducing Introvision, a whole company that just swaps the colors for you on your film. Okay, guys. I think it's fantastic. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. I love that everything is practically.
I do love that. Yeah.
There's an incredible physicality to it. I mean, it was directed by a stunt guy. So, I mean, of course, all the stunts are absolutely amazing.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. That surprises me. Carry on.
Hal Needham was just excellent at that. I mean, you look at the other stuff he did. Pretty much everything he made had cars racing around and smashing off anything. So... Like he did the Smokey and the Bandit films, the Cannonball Run films.
Yes.
Yeah. He was a big fan of cars going fast and blowing up.
Yeah, but who isn't?
Wrong with that.
Yeah.
There you go. See, another thing good about it already.
You've been converted.
You guys have seen Smokey and the Bandit and Cannonball Run, yes?
Cannonball Run, yes, not Smokey and the Bandit.
Okay, well, together we've seen them both.
But now I can finally sum up my emotions, and everything that I feel about this film can be coalesced in this one image, which I'm going to show now. And I'm sorry to the podcast listeners.
You can describe,
That's
describe it.
that's me when I was watching this film. I'm like, what am I watching? you know. Like,
So
Paul,
it's a shot of basically the antagonist of the movie, and he's taken aback. He's surprised. He's not sure what to feel, as he sees something magical and spectacular happening at the climax of this movie.
The amazing Henry Silver.
yes.
There we go. That's his name. So, this film, for me, was very much. I felt it was like a Super Mario Nation that had sort of come to life more. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way I do here, but I feel like this film could have been a Super Mario Nation. Like, it could have been puppets instead of people. How do you guys feel about that?
It's funny that you should say that because the creators of South Park, their influence for Team America was this movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I think Megaforce had also been referenced in South Park itself at least once or twice.
Yeah. I think
Okay,
there's
so
a
there's some
Mark
deep
IV in
cuts.
South Park as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. But yeah, I mean,
Cool.
it could have been done with a Super Mario Nation.
Mhm.
I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah, I think at the
Absolutely.
time, again, especially with Hal Needham, he liked having the people there. I mean, he saw this as a potential trilogy of films. He was thinking,
Oh.
you know,
Yeah.
big budget action adventure,
Yeah.
and kind of. Well, he got beaten out by Mad Max 2. Mad Max 2 came out like 2 weeks afterwards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, he had no chance.
I think the Road Warrior was in. It came out before that though. I think it was out in May of 2000,
Yeah.
2082. But
So-
you had Firefox in the theater. You had Grease 2, Secret of Nim. Tron was coming out. Conan the Barbarian was there. Poltergeist, Star Trek 2.
It's a
Wow,
lot of
it's a-
competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a banner year. There's some great movies there. I especially love Poltergeist and Conan from that lineup.
Oh, and Raiders
Everyone
of the
likes
Lost Ark.
Conan.
Oh yeah, and Raiders. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So guys, when you watched this film, what was your first experience with this film? Like, when was the first time you watched it? Did you watch it in cinema? Did you watch it on VHS as a rental? Did you catch it as was it a Saturday night movie? How did it all go down for you guys?
In my case, it was a cinema release. Granted, considering I live on the other side of the planet, it wasn't until basically the end of '82. It was around Christmas time for us. So it worked really well because we had Megaforce toys, because Matchbox was very much partnered with this coming out.
Oh, cool.
Matter of fact, Matchbox designed the uniforms they wore, not art department.
I didn't
But
know
anyway,
that.
so the film came out around Christmas time. The toys came out around Christmas time, and it was like a perfect storm, in a way.
He means these uniforms, by the way.
So Paul
Yeah.
has
And I
shown us the.
It was the 80s.
Yeah,
Get a camel toe. You get a camel
Micro-
toe. You get a camel toe. You get a camel toe.
Oh,
They're
Sorry.
kind of like gold beigey jumpsuits, and
tan.
yeah, tan maybe.
tan.
Oh, God.
Okay,
There's
I
a-
really
there's
like the
camo.
suits though.
They have
I-
the uniforms and the vehicles are covered in a inverse polysynthesis skin, so they change color. So at night they'll go black, and during the day they'll be tan.
Very cool.
Yes.
I
very
bet he, like, they should have worn dancers' belts, but whatever's. The thing is, okay, so I'm gonna show an image now of a parachute. I love this rainbow parachute. The reason I took this image is because if you work in graphics or graphic design or anything like that, and you're our age, you know, you're in your 30s, maybe hitting your 40s or so, you're gonna recognize seeing a parachute, a rainbow-colored parachute, and you're gonna associate it with Adobe and or Corel Draw. Okay, because that's what I saw when I saw in my head when I saw this. I was just like, oh wow, this is like a stock image for for Adobe, and then this madness happens here, where they're like, I can jump out of a plane, and I mean, this woman's very clearly lying on her back. Was this actually really shot? Did they actually really shoot a parachuting sequence and jump out with cameras, or was this
I
like
think it's in
fake?
front of a big screen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
I mean-
that entire sequence it's fused together. So the actual shots of real people in the sky, having a very this would be kind of like the romantic, kind of
Which
like
wasn't
slideshow
romantic
section
at
of the
all.
movie.
I just want to put
Well,
that
they had
out
the
there.
music on there. They were touching hands. He was helping her. She was showing how cool she was in the sky, and then they intercut these really cool, like real live shots with them. Yeah, basically on like boards swimming through nothingness, and there's a screen behind them. It's really early 80s effects, but it still looks good, I think.
And yeah, I gotta say that sequence was actually pretty good looking. And Gaz, what is your first time seeing this, man? Like, I felt like I missed you there.
It was as a kid. I didn't see it on the big screen, so I'm kind of jealous of you there. But a friend of mine, I would go over to his house and they had cable, and it was on cable, and we'd watch it there. We never knew what the name of the movie was. We just like would catch it in the middle. We would be like, "Oh, it's that movie with the dune buggies and the motorcycles." Oh, then immediately after that, we'd go outside, start riding our bikes around, acting like that. So it's more
Okay.
like a GI. It was like a GI Joe thing for me. You love GI Joe and you see this, and then you just reenact it. That was my first experience with it. I didn't know what the name of it was until I was later on in my years.
So, Rob, I don't know if you caught this, if this like hit you the same way it hit me, but when I was watching this, this movie kind of like messes with your emotions a little bit, at least as a GI Joe fan, and if you spent most of your life watching GI Joe stuff or being into GI Joe, but never having seen Megaforce, and Megaforce pops up, there's some chord structures in the score, right, that pop up, and they are so Sunbow GI Joe. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like this like doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo kind of sound, and I was like, whoa, hold on,
What's that sort of this? I mean, they were big into synthwave at the time, so I think
Oh, the
actually
synthwave stuff is great.
composer,
Yeah.
that's what they were all inspired by. So,
But
yeah,
there's-
definitely, it does feel very Sunbowy.
And I actually would hazard a guess here in saying that Sunbow definitely reached into this film for a little bit of inspiration. And I don't know, do you think I'm crazy saying that, guys? Like,
No,
do you,
not at
No.
all.
Not at all. Yeah.
Nah.
because that there's a piece of music that's just so GI Joe. It actually feels like this stole it from GI Joe, but this came out in '82, and so it couldn't have stolen it from GI Joe, because I think the cartoon, Pyramid of Darkness, no, Master Vice. Jeez, I think it's Master Vice is the first GI Joe one.
Yes.
GI Joe thing, yeah. I think that only debuted in like '83 or '84, if I'm not mistaken.
83, I believe.
Yeah.
Sunbow didn't start until 83.
So I think they're
think-
definitely, yeah, Rob.
Yeah, it all came out at about the same time. I mean, I watched a sort of no making of, but someone kind of talking about behind the scenes about Megaforce, and the writer on it was actually he wanted to originally make a GI Joe movie, but I think obviously
Okay.
not influenced by a real American hero, but by the original 12-inch toys. So he was trying for a more serious tone for the movie. I think he was, and then they could have brought the director in. They kind of went for a more like action-packed, Roger Moore type campiness to it, which I think does suit it, and also does make it more feel like a cartoon, or like as you said, a Super
Marination.
Mario. Yeah,
Super Mario.
that one.
I mean, you think about it, the whole thing, if you took the Megaforce characters out, the storyline, everything, it could be a GI Joe cartoon or a GI Joe story. Yeah. It has that world feel.
Yeah, and they have kind of like that technology that's ahead of its time, which is what GI Joe often has.
Not to mention that
it's-
cool bass.
Oh,
Yeah,
the bass
yeah,
is
well-
awesome.
Giant
I wanna-
underground pit-like, you might say.
Yes, very.
Well, that's something I really love about this film is the underground base, and what I'm showing now on screen is the simulator, the training simulator, which I thought was actually pretty badass as well. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, this is quite forward thinking in my opinion. Like, I mean, those graphics are amazing, but that's like there are some guys that have gaming setups like this where they have like a little rig and everything that they sit in, and I'm sure there's the driving game simulator guys. They have actual rigs that sort of move and whatever's with the car and all kinds of mad stuff. And it's got this kind of feel, and it's the same thing with the guys who play DCS and all that kind of stuff. So this was really cool to see. You know, like the main not the main character, the female
Major.
protagonist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Major.
What's the name again? The Major.
Major Zero, I forget her last name.
Well, if you guys are wondering, it's this person.
Yes.
Oh,
That
yes,
smile.
this person here.
Mm.
Yes.
On screen, laser. Just been off
pick-
limits until 300 hours.
Wonderful photo. You picked some of the best shots of her.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dude, I labored to get some of these shots because this woman has got the most uncomfortable smile. I'm sorry, but she really, really does. I mean, look at there's this great scene where our main dude, what's our main dude's name again?
Ace Hunter.
Hunter.
Ace
A
Hunter.
very popular name, actually. As I was YouTubing, another movie came out in the same year, I think called Battle Truck or something, and the main character is also named Hunter.
I believe
Cool.
that. I think the guy who stars in that one is Michael Beck, who plays Dallas in.
Yeah, I was going to say Dallas
Oh,
played
no
Hunter in the
way,
previous
Yeah.
film.
really?
Yep.
Oh,
I just want to use this moment to quickly just reach into the comments. Quickly, I just want to say, what's up to everybody in the comments? Hans Chow, Bob Squad, Ryan Sweeney. What's up, guys? How's it? Welcome to the episode. We see you guys having all kinds of fun there. I'm trying to find some cool stuff to pull out there. Mark van Leeuwen, what's up, dude? It's so cool to see like everybody here. I see Gaz is also in the comments as well as Darren. You know, you cheeky guys.
What?
Gotta show
And
this
so cool. So by the
So
way,
Hunter.
the Ace Hunter, right? So there's a shot. There's a whole scene that happens here, and he's like telling her that, yeah, you know, like your scores are so great, but you're not coming on the mission, and this, huh?
No.
Huh?
Well, no.
then-
Technically, this is after it. He tells her that she can't go on the mission during that simulator scene. This is
Yeah,
them
he
saying
kind of
goodbye,
explains it to
and
her.
they're set. There's, I believe the conversation they're having is they're gonna set up like a date afterwards
A pub
Yeah.
in
Yes,
London.
they're going to meet in London.
in a pub.
Apparently, London is really cool now.
I think it was called the Lionhead Club or something. like that.
Lionhead pub.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
It's
Lionhead
like-
Pub.
Yeah, that's where everyone goes to meet.
Apparently, there's only one of them in the whole of England, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But you get the most iconic scene, one of the most iconic scenes of this movie, at that moment where he jumps onto the back of the plane and gives the thumb kiss.
Yes.
Yes, and I
The
and I
mighty thumb kiss.
and I feel like such a poople for not managing to get a shot
Not
of that.
Getting that shot. But what you got,
But at least-
incredible shots. So this film is really practical, and the coolest thing
Yes.
is they get three. What are these A130s? I don't know.
C-130s.
Huge C130s. What are they?
Yep.
I don't know.
Hercs.
Yeah.
Hercs.
C-130
Okay, they're
Hercules.
Yeah,
Hercules,
C130s.
yes.
They practically have. I mean, they have the actual airplanes in the movie, and I think that's so cool.
It is
And to
super
think
cool.
They did all this without official military backing.
Oh, really?
No
Yep.
ways.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Because this shot,
according-
I love the shot. Yeah.
According to Barry Bostwick, Mr. Ace Hunter himself,
Yes.
he
absolute
said
legend.
that they withdrew military backing because at that stage the US had a force too similar to Megaforce in real life that was sort of
Oh.
working behind the
Ooh.
scenes.
Oh,
And,
so they
and
could
so
be a
they-
real life Megaforce.
well, yeah,
Riding around in
That's
dune buggies
crazy.
and motorcycles with rockets. Yes.
Spandex.
Lasers. Damn.
I mean, yeah, and so they said that they'd originally applied for military support. So you like background shots or stuff like that.
Mm.
Once the US military guys, the publicity department, looked at the script, all of a sudden it was, no, we don't want to support this. Sorry.
I don't have too many. I don't have too many negative things to say about this movie, but there is one negative thing I have to say about it. Is those sunglasses. I don't know.
Right?
Edward's, yep.
He walked up.
It's like he stole her sunglasses.
Exactly.
Like
For
I mean,
a second, I thought I was watching Tootsie.
And that's the great Edward Mohair.
For those
Yes.
who can
Knight
see the
Rider.
pictures, he was from Knight Rider.
Yeah, he was
right.
Mr. Devin Miles
Mr. Knight?
himself. No, Mr.
Cool.
Devin Miles.
Gavin Niles. Gosh,
Yes.
why when he?
I'm
called
gonna put
himself-
up-
Oh wait, no, what's his name was Knight.
But he's
Michael
got
Knight.
some. This general had some of the most ridiculous lines, and I feel so sorry for him because I really felt like this actor actually had a lot more pathos. You know, like he could like. I just felt like he was bigger than some of these lines. Like the major lady, I feel like, I don't know, like this was her first film, and she was very much a rookie, and she was figuring stuff out. That's what I feel. I don't know if this is true.
No,
I
she was
purposely
in-
didn't want to do research because I wanted you guys to tell me about this stuff.
She was in Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was her first big breakthrough. She played the bald chick.
The navigator who
Yes.
ended up sort of not making it through the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
And,
interfaced with Vija.
I'm going to show an image of an actor from another movie that's a bit of a cult classic. It's considered by a lot of people to be a bad movie, but it's one that I thoroughly enjoy. This dude here comes from a movie called The Warriors.
That's Michael Beck.
Mm.
Yep.
Okay, who in their right mind does not like the Warriors? Really?
I don't know. There are people out there who don't want to come out and
Really?
play. Yeah. I don't know.
That's bad.
That's
Love that
shocking.
movie.
Yeah.
Love that movie. Love the poster. Love
Soundtrack.
so many things about soundtrack. Oh, and the actors are so cool, and there's just such a cool vibe to that film. And one of the reasons I actually clipped this shot was because I wanted to speak about this fantastic dude and how he wasn't used enough in movies, and B, I really love this shot, the interiors of the C-130s. These like red lit shots. But this whole dialogue thing here was so terrible because the response from Ace Hunter is, "It's totally inapplicable to anything that's going on here, and it's dumb." And I'm like, "Oh my!"
Who said that? You did.
It says,
Absolutely profound.
you love him in blue, you love him in red, but you always love him in blue.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with anything that's going on.
Exactly. This guy is like, it's cool because it's a great T-shirt. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's a fun little scene. It kind of like adds a little bit more. It's like he really is smitten with her. Like he fought against his own emotions to kind of keep his team the way that he wanted his team to be.
Exactly.
Very focused, and these guys have to work together and work as a unit. And that was important to him, but at the same time, it really hurt him. So it was kind of cool to see him kind of struggling with that. I mean, yes, the movie overall is camp, but there are some cool, more I suppose, dramatic moments.
Clever character moments, definitely.
Yeah,
Ace
Yeah.
Hunter
I mean-
is a man of much depth, as you
Yes.
can tell.
exactly.
He is.
I have to agree. He's got amazing hair too.
Oh
My
yeah.
goodness, this entire cast I think was
That
very
beard
well
is incredible as well.
I'm gonna fly up some comments from the Berg Force. Ryan Sweeney, Ace Hunter action figure is his camel toe or moose knuckle. Bob Squad, why can't Megaforce have pockets? Guys, why can't Megaforce have pockets?
They don't need pockets. They don't even need guns. I think only 2 of them were equipped with guns. Basically, this entire thing is a vehicle porn movie because
Yeah,
it's
pretty much.
all about the vehicles. Like,
Wow.
there's one dude who purposefully carries a gun because he needs to, use it in one scene to kind of like fire it off into the air. But otherwise, they are all unarmed, which I found fascinating. That not a single one of them really carried guns. Or actually, Ace Hunter carried a gun, but he never fired a single shot with it.
This line, this is from Hans Chow. Kenner put out a line of miniature military vehicles called Megaforce back in the day, like Micro Machines Awesome stuff. Had a few. Gaz, Darren, did you guys have any of these?
I did not.
Yeah, I had the original ones that came out really early, and was it Mattel and Hot
I
Wheels
think
had them?
originally
Hot Wheels.
Mattel and Hot Wheels were,
Hot
were,
Wheels?
were the company
Yeah.
that brought them out. Yeah.
I was so
And,
lame. I
Married.
couldn't find any pictures of the toys. I'm sorry.
Oh, could you?
I
They
know.
looked really fun though.
There's a cool thing here. There's a comment that I want to pop up here. It just kills me. And I was trying that. I didn't want to laugh
Don't
on
give it
air
away.
now because, but from Ryan Sweeney, it's Major Doubtfire. Looks just like a lady. So cool. That's a great comment. I love
just don't
that.
know what they were thinking with those glasses.
I don't know either. I just feel like. What do you think they were doing with those glasses? Do you think there was a something behind the character that they wanted there?
I bet he probably needed some sunglasses because they're out in the desert, and nobody had a pair, and a woman gave it to him.
Just
That's my
grabbed
thought.
whatever
Yeah,
pair was there.
whatever
yeah.
they had. Yeah.
Because
I don't
I
think
mean,
it's
Highlight-
motivated by character at all.
Highlight, he
mean,
was softer than everyone else as well. I mean, they talk about him having a plush helicopter with champagne on
Oh, that's
board,
true. Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
So-
he was very proud of his
And a
helicopter,
shag,
and also
and a shag carpet.
shag
Yeah,
carpet.
his,
So the glasses again, that's level of sort of softness.
yeah,
he's not.
he comes from a rich background. They do say that in the movie, and
Yeah.
they do push that point a lot. So maybe that's what it is.
and then we got these two clowns, these two characters. It's not just him, and like this cool Asian guy who I dig this character, even though we don't really see him doing much. And then this Russian sounding Russian or
I think he's
Mexican.
I think he's no.
is
no,
he
he's
Mexican?
French.
No,
No,
he's,
he's
He's
French.
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 Is
Sorry.
he
That
French?
one's Mexican right there.
That's
And then
there's
this
another
dude's
guy
Mex-
who is
I
Mexican.
think that's Gomez. I think his name is Gomez. He's teamed
Mm.
up with Six Killer,
Yep, and
and the
Evan
other two were
plays
Suki.
Suki.
Yeah, Suki, and I forget what the French guy's name was.
And
The
Suki was the one with the 6-shooter, I think.
Well, Suki had towards the end, you see him. His destroyer gets damaged or blown up or something, and he's riding on the top of another one. And I believe he has like 6 shooters on his either side of his thighs. So there's another dude that's Anton. Yes, that's his name.
I love
So
this shot. I
They're
thought this
all
was so
from
cool.
different countries, which I mean is not so
Well,
much
Mega-
GI Joe, but more definitely Action Force.
Well, Megaforce is made up, as they explain as they're going through their pit. That, well, I think it's on the way to pit. They're made up of, I forget the name of the group, but it's like the Free United countries of the world, and they send their best men and their best hardware to Megaforce, and each member is either disavowed, marked as a traitor, or dead to the world. So they're strictly off the books.
It's wild to me that these ideas, it's so similar to like what GI Joe is, but it was invented by a completely separate team. Like what was happening in the late 70s that these ideas were so prevalent. It's wild to me. I don't get it. It's crazy.
It was the Reagan era.
Well, I love, like, on screen now, I love this scene. Like, this is so I just think it's so cool. It's got such a, like, creepiness to it. These motorbikes with the, like, sort of red lights in it. It's just such a great, like, moment. I'm going to pull out some of those as I go through, because this film, if there's one thing that this film does well, in my opinion, but I just feel like if it was just given to a slightly better cinematographer, it would have been amazing visually. But I think this film does some pretty good cinematography. Like, I feel a lot of the composition of the shots is really awesome. Like, even this talkie scene is actually really well composed. And earlier with our dude here sitting doing his crossword puzzle, this is a really well composed scene. It's just a pity sometimes the scripting just felt a little bit hammy. But then again, I feel like maybe if the scripting wasn't as hammy, I wonder if this film would have been as memorable. You know, it's kind of like Resident Evil 1. You know,
Oh, by the way, that's the director.
Yes.
Oh,
That's
The
yeah.
how
guy
it
who
made him.
who sits in. At first, I thought it was $6 Million Man, but then I looked it up and I was like, nah,
Lee
Steve
Majors.
Austin?
yeah.
Lee Majors? No way.
No,
Well,
that's
I
how
don't know.
made him.
To me, it looked like him, but I knew it couldn't be him.
I thought this was pretty cool as well in the film, like the way they execute their mission, and it's got the little timer on the screen.
Yeah.
That was actually really cool. You know, additional contact. You know, proceeding down
Well,
main corridor.
They made incredible claims. I mean, the soft man up front, he was like, "You're really going to get this done in under 4 minutes," and they're like, "Yeah, for sure." That's just how quick we are, and how efficient they are.
But
And
I
also, you can
loved
see in
that.
these
Yeah.
shots as well how the color of the vehicles have changed.
Yes, the
Mm.
photosynthetic skin they have.
Yeah, so at night they go darker, and then during
Yeah.
the day, they're the tan color.
And this is vehicle porn, like for me, because like you see all of this cool, like these cool like remains and ruins of the city that they're entering, and this was kind of real time as well, which I liked. Like that's why they have the timer on the screen. They're trying to sort of imply that this is all happening in real time, and that was actually quite progressive. And it's weird because you wouldn't really see that being copied again until much later on in films. You know, I mean, 24, I remember when 24 came out, it was everybody's like, oh my word, 24 is so amazing because everything's real time. And I'm like,
It's not really.
yeah. And now there's a part of me that's like,
Dude,
yeah, Megaforce did
Megaforce.
it first.
Yeah.
It's not really
Just-
that. I mean, the vehicles themselves, they're also powered electrically, so they can run silent at night.
Yep.
And they can be radio controlled by TACCOM.
I love that. That was awesome. There's I'm spoiling it now, but there's a great scene where one of the vehicles takes too much damage and he's like, let me take control of it. And he just ramps this thing into like oblivion, and it's awesome. Sorry, I got some very dark shots happening here at the moment, but I loved this. This like little camera me thing, like
Little
like
drone.
yeah, it's so cool. And what I loved about this as well is the Dune movie by David Lynch has this very, I think it has some of the best production design in an 80s film, and people can fight me on that one if they want
It
to.
definitely has a lot of production design.
Yes. And I feel like Megaforce and that kind of tapped in to the same energy, because there's a lot of love putting to the lighting and to try and create these cool, dramatic, and artistic kind of shots with some of these, like some of the gadgetry and the vehicles and things.
And the thing, the film is it's campy, but to me, like having watched superhero movies, especially the Marvel films, I think this film fits in perfectly with those, because it's kind of like a balance of the jokiness with the seriousness in the movie.
Yes.
If you think about it.
Mano, you stole my lighter.
This is like this whole scene is like my favorite scene of the whole movie. The interaction between him and Guerrero is great.
Mm.
I just love his face. Yeah. It's just so great. Ace Hunter's face is just the best. Guys, I just want to check with you and see if we're on the same wavelength here. But Ace Hunter is essentially Jane Fonda and Duke mixed together.
No,
That's
come
It's
on.
the headband, isn't it?
The headband, right? But Ace is more than just the headband and some good hair, man. He's
That's
got
great
some
hair.
stuff. It's great hair though. It is.
I miss having hair like that.
oh. And then here we go. The vehicles have changed into like this cool deserty mud color.
That's their
Camo.
standard camo. Yeah.
Yeah. This
Oh,
is
no.
this was fun. See, once again, great composition on the shots.
I think what
I
also
did-
makes it feel like an episode of a cartoon or a very GI Joe is that it's very straightforward. The movie it's not overly complicated. So they set out the bad guys, and there's two countries fighting each other, and then they bring in that they need Megaforce to go into that country because one of the guys there is an ex. Well, he used to work with Ace Hunter.
Well, Guerrera is a hired mercenary, and that whole tank battalion that he has with him is his force. And
Yeah.
that country had hired Guerrera to wreak havoc with their bordering country, which Zara and what's his name, Burnwhite, are working for. And I think Burnwhite himself is a hired gun for that country.
Mm.
And then so they needed to draw Guerrero out of the country beyond their borders so they could capture him or take him out. So they got connected with Megaforce to go in, hit Guerrero, draw him out so that they can take him without starting a war with that country next to them.
Operation
that's-
Hook, Line, and
And
Sinker.
Sinker.
Mm.
So, toys wise, okay. So you guys obviously grabbed some of these toys when you were kids. I'm hoping.
I had
Yeah.
I had a few of them, the Hot Wheels,
Mm.
which is basically the only thing that you could really get.
The buggies.
The buggies, and I had the 6-wheeler too.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I had the bike and the buggies. Never got the six-wheeler.
I never found the bike. I always wanted the bike.
Bike is very cool.
It
It was very fragile, but very cool.
It's
There's something very his tank about the 6-wheeler. Hey, don't you guys
a
think?
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Six,
I can see it.
and also like maybe it's just the coloring and the fact that it has 6 wheels, the Desert Fox as well.
Yes.
Like it's
There's
cool
also that.
because they have very distinct vehicles, just like GI Joe does, and they've been modified to work for them. I think that's definitely another connection an idea that they pulled out of nowhere, I suppose, because they had a stuntman guy in charge of the movie. They have these distinct vehicles that are theirs, the same like GI Joe does. So the parallels are incredible.
You can easily see the bike, the destroyer, that TACCOM vehicle as a Joe vehicle.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
can easily see that with a GI
Yeah.
Joe label stuck on the side.
For
Yeah, I
me,
mean,
oh, sorry, Darren. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say the Delta 4, the motorcycle.
Yeah,
You've got the Ram, you've got the stuff. You could
Mirage.
see the Mirage. The
Yeah.
GI Joes would use that motorcycle.
Yes, they
I
would.
could see Joe's racing around on that one.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Those Doom buggies, the destroyers. Yeah,
So
Definitely.
all striker-ish.
I
definitely.
love the fact they've got that little wheel that pops down to allow them to circle on the spot.
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
that's brilliant.
Yeah, again, practical effect. That car actually did that. It wasn't, had a drop down wheel so it could turn 180 degrees on the, and move straight away.
Something that jumped out to me when I was watching this a lot was Action Force. I know we've mentioned Action Force a lot. Rob, you opened up with going, this is
Oh, no,
basically
absolutely. It's basically Action Force because it's an
basically
international team. Yeah.
Yeah. But I also feel like the vehicles have that kind of Action Force aesthetic
Yeah.
to them.
Yeah,
You know,
you're
like I immediately thought that when I saw and I don't know why or what it is about the 6-wheeler vehicle, but it also made me think of the Action Force when I saw it. Also, I love these like wide angle shots. Like, I don't think they're the most attractive things for a film. And I know I'm being critical here, so if you guys want to fight me on it, go for it. Please do. It's more fun that way. But I just feel like these shots are like these wide zoomed out shots where you just see a whole bunch of vehicles going into the middle. To me, it feels like a strategy game, like on a PC, like a PC strategy game, like Command and Conquer or Dune or something. Has like that kind of vibe. It's also got like that, like a toyetic vibe to it. But I don't know if it serves to be a great dramatic shot for a film.
For me, it's like in a classic Western when the cavalry's coming in for a charge. That's what this scene kind of speaks to me, because you have Guerrero lined up, ready to attack, because they know Guerrero knows that they have to go to this dry lake bed to get out, because that's where their planes can only land, because they're being cut off. They can't go back to Burnwhite's country because they won't let them across the border. They can't cut back because the whole of that nation's army is coming to get them, and Guerrero's standing between them and their way out. So their only decision is to attack, and they come in silent, and then they spread out and they just attack. And this is their charge. And so as the camera pans back, you see them all. And this is what I love about this, right? Because in today's age, you'd maybe have 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 of those destroyers, a couple of the bikes, and maybe the 6-wheeler, and then everything else would be CG'd in. It pans back, and you see that there's at least a dozen or so of those Delta Mark IVs, and there's got to be a dozen of those Doom buggies riding there, whether they're full mock-ups or just hollow mock-ups, but you can see that they're there, and that's a physical thing right there. And they're charging. You see them hitting every bump, jumping around and stuff, and it just looks like a whole lot of fun.
Do you think
But
like a
that's
whole
it.
bunch of? Sorry,
You
Darren.
talk
Yeah.
about you talk about this show being ahead of its time with the clock and everything like that. That scene there, it's 20 or 30 years later, you're going to see that scene again with the charge of the Rohirrim. It literally is that. You see the build up, they all sneak out into position, and then boom, take
Boom,
off
boom,
across the
boom.
field, and the missiles flying. It's that sort of. All they needed was, Ace Hunter to ride his bike across the front and tell them that they're going to ride for ruin,
Right?
and
Yeah.
and you got the charge of the Rohirrim right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
it's to show the physicality of that they have all these vehicles. That's what was impressive back then.
Yeah.
The fact that you had so much stuff and you could actually throw it into a scene, and it's all real. I mean, today you look at these scenes and you know that it's not real. You see
I was-
1,000 vehicles and you're like, it's pretty impressive, but it doesn't feel visceral. Well, I think the 80s
Why
definitely
Fury Road did so well.
Yeah.
Fury Road did
Exactly,
so well
because
because
it
they
was
had practical effects.
physical. It's
Yeah.
right there in your face. Maybe they enhanced it a little bit of CGI to kind of smooth things out. Because this being an 80s movie, when they do make mistakes, you can see those mistakes.
Yeah.
Very obviously. But the thing is that they can only take so many shots because it is all physical. And you kind of just have to go with the bad and take it with the good. Because you can only do so much physically. But the fact that they did it in real life is what makes it so incredible.
I just love that it gives it so much texture. That's one thing I love about like practical effects. It, like you mentioned mistakes. Like I love that in films when you see, because mistakes will happen, and that's adds to the realism. Like your brain, you kind of, I don't know. There's some part of at least my consciousness that appreciates it. Like where I feel like this is realistic. You buy the realism of it more. You know, if somebody bails, you know that like there's somebody in the same room that's watching this film with you that's gonna go, yo, that's exactly what's gonna happen. You know, or something. You know, you always got that guy. I just snagged this shot because I thought this was such a cool looking shot, and I love how Ace Hunter, for example, stands out with his blue bandana, so we know it's him. You know, we know this is our hero character.
Well, that was
Never
definitely
mind.
done on purpose. So
Obviously, yeah.
You can always know where he is on the battlefield.
As opposed,
clever.
of course, to Dallas, who stands out for slightly problematic reasons nowadays.
Well, until these days, yeah.
I love that this scene's building up for the jump over the tank, and then that classic like pose as he's in midair. He just grabs his charge off his thigh and he drops it on the tank and he throws. And you just see that like.
You mean this shot? Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
It's great.
This was cool. I love this shot. That's why I knew it, because I was like,
So
we're gonna
well
talk about
edited.
this.
Like it's such a fun, like, you knew the director going in was like, I have to get a cool shot like this in there.
Yeah.
And he did. He
And then-
managed it.
It's just that's a motorcycle going up against a tank, a
Yeah.
Mobat, Mike, a Mobat.
Yeah.
Going up
This
against
brings me back to International Backyard Part 2 with Super Trooper.
Yep. Well,
and then-
I've explained this to other people about Megaforce, and they say, "Oh yeah, what is it? What is it?" And I point to modern play motion and stuff. I go, "This is a guy, director Hal Needham, had a bigger budget, live people, but it's basically play motion."
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I think so. I think that's true. I think a lot of what play motion is 80s.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at that. Look at that scene. Look at it. Just look at it. Look at the awesomeness of that scene.
Yeah.
He just jumped over that tank, dropped the detonator on it, and boom! And he's going for the stylish landing.
Oh, yeah.
Motorbikes and explosions. It's an American film.
It's a real tank. There's a real vehicle to his right.
Yep.
It's all practical. I think you really can't go wrong with practical effects, even if it looks hokey or it looks funny sometimes.
And you can easily
It's real.
Imagine that being a Ram cycle
Mm.
with like Stalker or Duke on riding it, doing the same thing to a cat.
yeah.
I'm I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this shot now, and I'm thinking, wow, like this would be so cool to recreate in like toy photography, because you could do this.
Mm.
You know, like it's just it could work. And also, I think we've hit one of our major points of sale on this film to somebody who's never watched Megaforce before, or who has been trepidatious about it. Steve. The practical effects alone are worth watching. Like, so if maybe, and let's be, devil's advocate here. If the scripting really bugs you, turn off the sound, rock some cool, no, but like, rock some cool like 80s, pumping 80s synthwave playlist on Spotify or something. Just let this movie roll, because I think it's a pretty film because of the practical effects. So to me, that's a sales point, and that is a big sales point of this film. It's actually why I'm like, why it's one of the things that I liked about this movie is all the practical effects, and I liked how it was shot. So that's a definite sales pitch. I mean, listen, Rob, Steve, and myself sat through Cyborg 2 or Cyborg
And
together,
that's brilliant. That's a
and that was
hilarious movie.
brilliant. Like,
Wow.
and
Jean-Claude Van Damme, it's so good.
and I kind of feel like Megaforce is something
it's
that's
no Megaforce.
There it is, the line.
Yes.
even the good guys.
I just actually recorded that. I was gonna post this on the group page after the podcast.
Guys always win, even in the
Even in the
80s.
80s.
Well, this is a total reaction to what Guerrero says to him earlier when he offers him a way out.
Mm.
He tells him, you're in an unwinnable situation. You're not gonna spoil this for anybody who hasn't seen it. You're not gonna get out of this. The army's coming that way. We're waiting for you over there. You're not getting out. And he says, it kind of dives into how Guerrero sold himself out, becoming a mercenary because of what happened to him, right? So he has like his morals have kind of gone astray. But Ace, they used to be friends. Ace is still that moral driven guy. He still wants to do the right thing. He needs to do the right thing, and he owes it to his men. And he offers his men a choice. You can follow me out, or we can all split up and get out on our own, because that's your only choice, right? It's surrender, follow me, or make your way out by yourself. And they obviously say, no, we're going to follow you. We're going to follow you because you're our leader. It's that Duke moment. This Duke is that first sergeant. He's so loyal to his men. He's so loyal to the cause that they'll follow him because he's true blue. You know what I mean? He's a standard good guy, and that's what Ace is. Ace is a good guy.
Yeah.
He's good to the core, and
almost a caricature of a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is him telling Guerrero, hey, listen, you gave me a way out. I didn't give up. Here I am. We got out, and we always win. Meaning the good guys always win. And not only that, and again, spoilers to the anybody who hasn't seen it. I think personally myself, if there was a second movie, that Guerrero will be on Megaforce, because this is him telling Guerrero that you could be on Megaforce if you want.
Yeah.
Because he leaves him with a new lighter.
Yeah. A Megaforce lighter.
Yeah. So it's just and the way Guerrero reacts, it's just like, yeah, I'm there. Right? I'm there. Like this is him looking at him in disbelief, as like, you're here and what you're saying to me. But when he opens that lid, he's like, Ace. Like he's happy to see him. You know what I mean?
It's actually it's really cool. I mean, like, he's the antagonist, but he's also his old friend, and the way they get along is very layered.
Yeah.
Even though they're on opposite sides.
Right.
Well, I mean, you go right from the beginning. The very first attack where Guerrero's causing problems. He's got that sort of political officer from the nation giving the full speech. And Guerrero's like, come on, get it over with. We're here to do a job. We don't believe in this, blah, blah, blah. And as the story goes through, you see that he's not happy with what he's doing, but he's doing it because the money, and that's the way the world is now. Yep. You can't just be the good guy. You have to do this to earn money to keep working. And yeah, at the end, he hands him, instead of the lighter that had their old regiment on it, which is the one he stole.
Yep.
He hands him a new lighter,
Well,
which is a Megaforce lighter.
Borrowed and never gave back.
Sorry. Borrowed, never
I
came
thought
back.
you gave it to me.
But yeah, I mean, he gives him a Megaforce lighter, which, like Gaz said, I've always thought was like an invitation. It
Exactly.
was like an invite card.
Yeah.
And yeah, that bit at the end when he's like absolutely ecstatic that Ace has got away.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll see you again. Yeah.
Yep.
And then,
Yep.
yeah, if deeds not words had been made, I would have seen him as joining Megaforce as well.
Yeah.
I think he definitely would have been on Megaforce, and it's just like GI Joe, where there is this very positive message at the end of the day. Good guys do always win, and once again, I'm floored by the parallels between this and just what a real American hero is. You know, like what
Yeah.
Larry Hama came up with.
One of the
and
other
even more
interesting
so the
things-
cartoon guys came up with is
Yeah.
good guys always win.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing, talking about parallels with the cartoon, the director went to the wall. He had fought to specifically show no one gets killed in this film.
Yes. I was going to bring that up. Yes. I think the
'cause-
only on-screen deaths, and I don't even know if they're deaths because you can hear these like little micro voices when those three guys get zapped outside of TACCOM. That shot you showed of the six wheel vehicle, and that device comes up out of top of them. There's like three guys setting up a little
They
rocket
get
launcher to
shocked.
take it out. Yeah,
Because I assume
Yeah.
that they get blown up. I must actually listen to that again.
yes. If you watch it again, and you hear when they get zapped, you hear these like little cartoon voices as they vanish.
That's brilliant.
Yeah,
Because like even when the bad guys have their vehicles destroyed, I think there are shots of them coming like crawling out of it. And I was like, that's very much the GI Joe cartoon. You always have to make sure that you see them not dying.
So, something I think is a bit of a tactical failure in this film, but also a success.
no.
The climax of the entire movie, they've
You-
been setting it up.
You're wrong, Paul. You're wrong.
Hold on.
No. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Well, hear me out.
standing my ground right here.
Go on, Gaz.
No, but
Let him
like-
be wrong. It's okay.
It's
okay. Well,
okay,
yeah.
Paul
Let
can
me be wrong.
sometimes. But
I feel
they've
like-
been setting this up throughout the entire movie.
Don't
Like, it's this
ruin
working
his
gun. Like,
Falcor moment. I'm sorry. Don't ruin the Falcor moment.
So, I think one of the reasons why, because this is what I'm starting to get from like listening to you two gentlemen talk, and I'm sort of falling into the excitement of this film quite a bit, and that's what I was hoping would happen with this episode, and I'm hoping our listeners are getting the same thing. I feel like the film, the tactics in the film, like the military strategy and all that stuff, within the narrative of the film, actually makes a lot of sense, you know. And I think the fact that, and I'm sorry, spoilers for like super old and obscure movie, but I think the fact that the victory is achieved without some giant set piece that involves killing the villain James Bond style. I'm kind of glad that the film doesn't succumb to that, and that the conclusion to that is this whole conversation between Ace and Duke. I thought that was like very clever, as you guys have just like illustrated now. I think that's a really good thing. I just think that could be one of the reasons this film maybe didn't quite touch the hearts and minds of the average film goer when this was out, irrespective of the fact that it had competition in the form of like Mad Max and everything else that came out in '82. I feel like, unfortunately, cinema goers are the kind of people who do want this big set piece ending with the bad guy, exploding or falling down a giant chasm or being shot into space or whatever's, being taken out by, the Ark of the Covenant, whatever's. Like, that's kind of something that I feel this film does really, really well, but to its detriment is actually more what I meant by tactical failure. So, am I wrong?
I'm
Not
glad
really.
that. Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't kill off Duke.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
It would have gone against the entire feel of the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the film stuck to what it set up, and I appreciate that. But yes, it does go against maybe audience expectations, where the bad guys always lose. But he explains it himself. Throughout the movie, you get the idea that it's not just killing your enemy that isn't winning. It's being better than them. It's taking the
It's
high
victory.
road necessarily.
Yeah.
It's victory. Victory itself is the win.
It's
And he
not
does.
always killing the
There's-
big bad. That's not the
In
solution.
every
yeah.
single way, he outsmarts Duke completely.
Mhm.
And that is a win. I think if you think about it a little bit longer, your audiences would realize. And it is a big showdown. You have these tanks. You have the
You got
airplanes
that.
coming
Yeah.
in. You get the fantastic clouds of rainbow colors. It is a huge spectacle. It's just obviously you don't have the kind of like, and he has to die. You gotta kill him. But it's the early '80s. They're like, this is a brand new decade. Let's give people a more positive outlook, a new era to be part of. But obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, pessimism with Mad Max and all the other movies won out. But I think we can appreciate happy messages these days.
Totally, man. Like, I love that because that's victory is not always just killing the enemy. Like you said, it's overcoming the enemy. It's overcoming it's winning in the battlefield. It's winning the bigger war. Like the bigger fight, getting this mission completed, and I think they did that really, really well. I just think, unfortunately, audiences had been conditioned to have this big, villain fight that would be like this big set piece that would then focus in on, the two, the main antagonist and the main protagonist going up against each other, and ultimately one coming out and there being like a silly one-liner. But here you've got two guys actually having a conversation, which I also quite progressive for this film. Oh, not just for this film, but quite progressive in that era.
Well, it's interesting you say that because, I mean, another movie that became a cult classic, which also ended with a big fight scene, but where the main guy doesn't kill the bad guy, was Blade Runner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where the movie ends with Deckard just sitting there and he's been completely beaten by his
with Roy Batty,
superior enemy. But Batty realizes it's the end now. And what's the point of me continuing to do this? Like I'm and then he explains, his entire outlook. So I think there were just definitely messages that were difficult for people to kind of connect with in the 80s, but which have over time gotten more acceptable, which is what makes Blade Runner a cult classic, and hopefully this as well, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Rutger Hauer's whole speech there at the end, the Tears in the Rain speech, and the whole, you're alive, live. And then that's like enforced later.
Yeah. And then he dies. The good guy didn't beat him. The same here. I mean,
By
he
far.
didn't beat him and doesn't kill him, but so the climax of the movie, which is probably the thing that a lot of people remember, is that our main character ends up flying on his bike in a very convincing fashion.
It is cool. It's cool, man.
It's cool as all hell, but it's
There's a really great question here from Ryan Sweeney in the comments. But who really was the bad guy? Both these forces are working for someone else. And that is a great touch point. That's one thing about this. And that kind of, I feel like, crystallizes what I'm trying to get at. Audiences are conditioned to there being a good guy and a bad guy. Audiences were, in the 80s, were not prepared for shades of grey or shades of brown, if you prefer in this case, because of the camouflage. They weren't ready for that ambiguity, So the question is, who really are the bad guys?
I don't think there really is a bad guy in this.
Hans Chow says capitalism.
Well, in a way, they kind of set up it's the politicians. I mean, they have mentioned that a few times. I mean, Hunter kind of like commiserates with the major, I think, or with the main tank dude. Not the main tank dude, but the rich man. And they do talk about how politicians often mess up situations that they've been in before when they start interfering.
Yeah. To that, Guerrero was a victim of that himself because he was recalled to his home country where he was put in command of a tank battalion and he had to watch
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
The
bad guy was the screenwriter. I'm sorry, Darren. I'm sorry, guys, but I agree with that 150%. My word, the script is.
That hurts deeply.
Bob Squad says apparently the bad guy's underwear. Yep.
Well, that's just a given. Everyone knows that.
Those outfits look so comfortable. I don't think you need to wear underwear.
It was the 80s.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Darren,
that's how we
I
all
derailed you there, my man. Yeah.
No, we're all good.
We're all good.
So, bike fart, right? The bike starts speeding up. These wing things come out the side. They're like, voot, voot. Or they're not. They haven't come out the side yet. They're still there. You can still see, you can see them here. They're kind of in the shot. I think this was a bit of a whoopsie. There's a continuity error there, because these shots are actually in a chronological order. Ace has taken off his helmet. We got another really awesome, piece of cinematography here with this shot. This whole bike shot at the end. This whole scene was amazing. Which brings me to this facial expression. While they're in the plane, he's like, I'm going to do this with my lips. He's got great hair, this guy, hey? Wow. Anyway.
That's what I said. The whole cast is so well. They all look really good.
And he's got his little Confederate flag there, which is because he speaks like this. He's like, yeehaw!
He's definitely from the South, but I mean, he obviously differentiates himself because Ace Hunters, they're both from the States.
Yeah.
But he's more Southern, so I think he's has more of a Southern pride, which was fine at the time. Today, obviously, it's a little bit more controversial.
Yeah.
But
Like,
at the time, it was
final-
completely normal. You were just
That
you're
final
proud to
charge,
be a
he
Southern
puts the
person.
Confederate banner on his motorcycle, so it
Yes, he
strings
does
out
as well.
behind it.
I mean,
Yeah.
at the same time, you had Dukes of Hazzard on TV.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Generally, so it's, but yeah,
It was a different time. It was the 80s, and I think it's just this. It's just an image. It's just a symbol. It doesn't, especially in this case, it doesn't impact the movie in any positive or negative way. He's from the
it's just
South,
an
and he
identifier.
himself is happy about that.
Like the bandana, it's
doesn't-
an identifier. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so as well. And he doesn't represent negative nor necessarily positive aspects of what it is to be from the South. So if you're from the South, don't worry.
I love
he's a good
this. This kills me. The whole time when I was watching this, I was just sniggering. I was like, I was giggling like a stupid kid.
Come on, this
'Cause I was
is like things that we dreamt about when we were kids.
See, Paul, this is
just-
the climax of the movie. It's him.
This-
He's
this
flying
is-
in the air. The bike is taken off, and he is
I'm telling
beyond
you, the guys at Kenner were watching this, and this is where they got the idea for Mask.
yeah.
Oh,
definitely. I
totally.
think this, once again, this film influences everything beyond it, and it's fantastic. This is the climax.
Who
And
does
also
not
the
do
shot.
that on their on the push bike? I'll go out on your BMX afterwards,
Yep,
pop a wheelie.
Don't try and fly.
put some
Pop a
cardboard
wheelie
on
and-
the side.
Yep. Yep. Then
It's-
fall off. But hey,
Remember, this is the guy who's scared of flying, or not scared of flying, but it affects
No,
him
no,
bad.
no. Turbulence, air turbulence.
Oh, it's turbulence.
Upset him, yeah.
But
That's not
still,
he was scared of flying.
He flew on this thing, which I find.
Because you saw how excited he was when Egg told him that it's 1-2.
1,
Oh,
2.
that's right. Okay, so he was
Yeah,
excited. He
he
doesn't
was
like
super
turbulence, but
excited
he
about
loves
this.
flying.
This
And the coolest thing is, yes, the shot looks really fake today, by today's standards. But the coolest part I found was that at the end of the sequence, he's flying around and they're all super impressed, but he actually flies directly into the back of the C-130.
yeah.
He transitions from whatever this back screen projection situation is straight into there, and I thought that was a really cool shot.
Yeah.
Oh man, this was like this just killed me, man. Like I was like I can like separate myself from it and just really, well, not separate myself. I can really get into this and just see through the special effects, or should I say their shortcomings, the shortcomings of the special effects by today's standards. I can really get immersed in this. But there's a part of my brain that just really takes joy from the fact that this is just so fake. And super for me, guys, and I know I'm saying things here that are gonna upset you and other Megaforce fans. This is so cheeseball, but that's not an insult to this. It's
But
kind
as
of
I say,
what makes
that
it so
doesn't
cool.
that doesn't upset fans. We know it's cheesy. You just
Okay, good.
love the cheese.
That's what it is. Yeah. I
mean, this is-
if you can accept the cheese, you can enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so enjoyable. That you know it looks bad, but when I'm watching this, I'm in a state of like just disbelief. So I just watch this and I'm in it. No matter how many times I watch it, I just enjoy it. And when I see this, I'm just like, I want to do that. I want to do that. I would love, and that's my, at first you're like that, and then you just gotta that look just turns into a massive grin, and you're happy.
And I think that's GI Joe as well. I mean, that's the cartoons, that's the comic books. I mean, the cartoons are way more, I wouldn't say cheesy, but they are definitely more tongue in cheek in a way, less realistic.
That's face.
That's what you're looking like after you're done watching this movie. You're just like,
yeah.
Before Megaforce, during Megaforce, and after Megaforce.
Megaforce. Yeah, the 3 stages. This was such a cool moment, and we were talking about it quite a bit earlier. When the set piece of this film, and Rob, you put a spotlight on it. The set piece of this film is this moment, not how badly he beat up the big bad, and that was cool. Like that's very Rockstar about this, and I love that. That's very positive and energetic. And I don't obviously want to mention it earlier because it's like a spoiler for our podcast
ruin this
as well.
Moment for sure.
Yeah,
but I think overall it's a positive movie. It's just wants you to have a good time.
Also,
I mean, there used to be a time when you'd make a movie purely to entertain. There's no message. There's no. Well, okay, there is. Even there goes a message, but
it's a message that everyone can get behind. I think.
Yeah, but you're not telling a big, deep story. You get join is to go in, sit there, spend 90 minutes, walk out with a huge smile on your face.
Yeah.
That's what this film does.
And a very annoyed girlfriend or whatever. Yeah. No. I feel you.
Yeah. It's like building a Lego set. When you're done, you just have a grin on your face.
And you make spaceship sounds. You're going.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So this caught my. Yes, you can see that.
Okay. No, you guys hassling me about the unmade castle, aren't you?
I'm sorry I didn't grab any screenshots for our chat of this, but this whole training section where they got the balls and they're exploding and they're moving around. This was so GI Joe for me. It really reminded me of GI Joe the movie, the animated movie. And okay, GI Joe the animated movie does not need to be elevated in my eyes, but this did actually elevate that movie in my eyes. And Rob, I'm very happy to hear that it did that for you as well, because just seeing this was so cool. I kind of that's the thing with this film. I feel like I've discovered this, and I think that's part of the charm of this. I feel like I've discovered some kind of weird hidden treasure.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you turn off your brain, but in a good way. You just go with it, you enjoy it, and it's just a lot of fun. I can definitely recommend this movie, and I think everyone should watch this if you have not watched it.
And Steven, I'm pretty sure this is. Oh yeah, Steven. Yeah.
You should watch it.
Yeah, you should watch it, Steve.
It's just don't go with any expectations of watching a masterpiece. Just go in with just looking to have fun to watch a movie, and that's all this is really. It's just fun. It's a fun movie to watch. It's fun.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. You don't need to dissect it in 20 different ways and how realistic it isn't. It's just a fun movie, and I think a lot of things nowadays maybe too realistic. Take this kind of approach to some things, maybe everything wouldn't be so serious. You don't need to be serious all the time. You can just have some fun, and that's what this is to me. It's just fun. I watch this movie, might go in a bad mood, come out in a good mood, and I'm like, there's some positivity going.
Oh, cool. So it's your emotional support film.
Well, one of many.
No, I feel you, man. I'm like that with Ghostbusters and Jurassic Park. And Lost in Translation, oddly enough. I'm weird. But, guys, I have this caught my eye here in the credits, hence the screenshot. Unit Production Manager David S. Hamburger. I'm pretty damn sure that's not his real name. And First Assistant Director Bill Coker. I think that's what he did. I think he spent the bull on coke.
It was the 80s.
It definitely was, and they got some incredible shots. I think, Megaforce. It gets it 2 mega thumb kisses from me.
Right.
2 mega thumb kisses from Rob. Yeah, it gets. Yeah, actually from me too.
Come on.
I feel so influenced.
Hell yeah.
But yeah,
Yes.
it does for me too.
So
I think
easy to influence him.
it is, but to be fair, like there aren't enough movies like this. There's a lot of bad movies out there, but there's very few bad movies that have the charm that Megaforce has.
Yes, it
You know,
does.
and Megaforce is something that I might want to see if I can find on Blu-ray for my personal collection.
Oh, they're available.
I'm pretty sure they
Yeah.
are.
Do it.
Listen,
Go
There's
get it
also
right
a
now.
nice collector's set. Then you can get the patch, a couple posters. I think I had.
Mm,
Cool. Okay,
you're
so
turning him into a real fan.
Oh yeah.
Time to go on eBay.
So here's the thing. So just coming off this quickly, a bit of it's GI Joburg. I have to ask you a GI Joe tie-in question. Which of these characters relate? Like, take one character that you really like and give me the GI Joe equivalent of that character.
Oh, that's easy. Ace
Cool.
is Duke.
Okay.
Duke is Ace. It's simple.
Yeah, that works pretty well.
Cool. Anybody else in there that you feel?
Well, I guess Six Killer. Kind of like Spirit. I want to, and Suki. Well, actually, there's actually here I got one. When they're in the pit, you got behind the computer board, you have that bearded guy, and I'm like, that should have to be Breaker.
Yeah,
Easy.
Breaker.
yeah,
He's the one
great
who
Breaker.
finds the armadillo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The armadillo with the hard night.
And on that topic, what is your absolute favorite vehicle from this show that you would love in GI Joe scale?
Delta 4. The bike.
Yeah, the motorbikes for sure.
It's hard to choose between that and a destroyer, but I mean, if I had to choose one, I guess because Ace is the guy and Ace's vehicle is the Delta Mark IV. So yeah.
We
Yeah,
need
okay.
more bikes in GI Joe.
Besides that, it can fly too. So
Hasbro.
Yeah. I think the Delta 4 is a huge inspiration to the Ram, personally. The shape, the styling of the Ram, having not been, 15 or 20 in the 80s, I would have made these connections a lot easier. I mean, I was like 4 and 5, but I feel like the design language of the Ram comes from these Delta 4 bikes in a big way, because the Ram doesn't really look like other motorbikes of the same era. And I may be wrong, so if I'm wrong, let us know in the comments and tell us what your references are, because I'd love to check that out. I like to learn new stuff, but I think the Ram is a big influence for that, and I think there is so much of Megaforce's DNA in GI Joe, definitely.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So
I think so. Going forward, if anyone else who's watched it, tell us in the comments how much you love it, how much you hate it. If you hate it, you're more than welcome to say that. It's free reign down there. Do whatever you want.
Free reign.
Thank you for joining us for a Megaforce mega overview.
Yes.
Let me be the first to say that I appreciate the opportunity to come on.
And
Oh,
let me
thanks,
be the
Jack.
second to
Absolute
say that.
pleasure. Yeah.
Well, thank you
Well,
for
thank you,
suggesting this. I
gentlemen.
mean, you've certainly introduced us to, at least for me, a new favorite movie. It's definitely in my top 2 million movies for sure.
Hey, you hit the 2 million mark. That's great.
Hell yeah.
Rob, I'm surprised. I actually honestly thought Rob was going to hate this. I thought you were going to tear this film to shreds, dude.
I love these sorts of movies. Actually, it's just the physicality of it. It's fun. It's not trying to be anything more than what it is, and it does feel
So
like
unpredictable.
GI Joe, and that helps a lot. I know I am,
Yes.
aren't I?
Love it. So great.
Such a good guy. How can you hate a good guy?
Hell yeah.
I went into it, I'll be honest with you, I went into it going, this is one of the coolest movie posters ever. And going into the film and having the few lines with the Major and the whole thing with them going to the pit and the hologram stuff, and I was like, oh God, take me now, And then, but I was like, I'm going to watch this movie because I want to have a good conversation with Darren and Gaz about this. And I'm like so glad that you guys, and thank you guys for putting this film in front of me, and thank you for us being able to make an episode about it, because it helped me push through it. And sorry to use the term push through it like it was labor or
It's
something.
worth it. It's
But-
absolutely worth it. Go watch it again, Paul. Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna totally
Right
watch
now.
it again, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you for this, because I went in with a bit of with some trepidation, and I'm glad that I came out the other side, going, it's another great bad movie that I can watch and enjoy a lot. And I know I keep saying bad movie all the time, and blah blah blah, but you know, that's okay. It's okay that it's a bad movie. I enjoy enough of them. Like I said, there are people that don't like the Warriors and they consider the Warriors to be a bad movie, and I'm like, don't know what's
They're
wrong with
wrong.
those people.
But that's
yeah,
fine.
that's just weird. That's just
So,
really weird.
which brings us to Rob. Scoop. Do you have any favorite comments from your last episode?
I think there were way too many, and thankfully everyone really enjoyed me doing this. And I'm glad that there's so many people that kind of like are still going through all our other episodes. And to Vincent 396, I'm not sure how we're going to be able to produce bi-weekly videos. We'll definitely try. It depends on Stephen. He has a child, and Paul has a kid. I mean, not a kid. He has a wife. He has a girlfriend.
And a house, and like,
I
and
could
two
probably
jobs.
do an extra episode every week. So maybe Vincent, I'll fill in the gap for you. and keep
But
you entertained.
alternatively, Vincent, if you want to check it out, so we have this amazing Patreon where you can join the
Absolutely.
Bergforce and all that, and that gets you, into the live podcast review, live podcast recordings and things like that, like we did now with the Bergforce and with GAZZ and DARREN, and that kind of thing, and that's really cool. And then you have access to things like the soundtracks that we do for the play motions, and sometimes the scripts and sticker sets and all that kind of stuff that we do for it, or some of the prop stuff, depending on what we can get out there. So you can join these fine people that are being shown on screen right now, which is the Patreon, or you can follow the you can join the YouTube membership. You can that whole little button there where you can like join it. I think it's $3. And Steve actually releases these little vlogs, these little like play motion vlogs, and he does them. I think it's like one a week that he does, and they are really cool. They're really fun, and they're really inspirational for people who enjoy play motion stuff as well. I feel like Steve does some cool stuff there, and he has some musing. So, go and check that out if that's your type of thing.
Yeah. Or we're always recommending tons of other podcasts and GI Joe channels. Check them all out.
Yes.
Watch everyone.
They will be
Give them
linked
all
in the
likes,
description below.
subscriptions. Every single one of them. Yes, all 100 of them.
All 100 of them are linked in the description below. And
Right.
guys,
Definitely.
I haven't pushed this in a while, but just a reminder to those of you out there who are looking for some cool GI Joe merch that's not made by GI Joe, but made by the people who love GI Joe. That's GI
Inspired
Joburg.
by.
And we have all of the stuff on our Teespring store. Great shirts like this retro Bergforce shirt, or retro GI Joburg shirt in the pixel style, which we really love. And I'm trying to get some over in South Africa for us. Hopefully by the time Stephen comes to visit, Rob,
Hell yeah.
so we can all have one of these.
Fantastic. They're going to look so good when we record the podcast with our icons and you can't see our faces and what we're wearing.
Yeah, it'll be like, which one of them's talking? This one. But anyway, so we got merch. So,
263 Megaforce. We got merch. Check it out. It's mega cool. It's a mega awesome,
Megarific?
megarific, like everyone on the podcast right now.
cool. And then also apparently Heberg, new He-Man and Masters of the Universe season 3 is on Netflix. Excellent.
Cool. Go check that out if you haven't seen it yet, Heberg fans. And Catching 264, where I imagine all three of us will be back and talking about something.
We'll figure
Unless-
out what we're going to talk about.
Soon.
I'm sure we got some stuff like that's ready to rock and roll. To the Bergforce and to everybody in the comments, thank you so much for joining us for this awesome episode. We hope that it's inspired you to watch Megaforce. And if it hasn't inspired you to watch Megaforce because you're already a diehard Super Megaforce fan, we hope that this resonated with you and that you feel, seen. And thank you, for the love and everything that you guys show us.
Oh, yeah.
And with that, it's time to do some ninja rolls out the door. So everybody, let's give us a great Joe.
Oh.
Bird. Deeds, not words.
He's not worse.